From -20 to +1, this was Tesla's week. We also got new all-time highs on the S&P and in most of the Magnificent Sevens. We celebrated 4th of July and more. Let's summarize the week. Are you ready for it? Then let's go! Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new, hello, my name is Micha, and on this channel we talk about stocks. We summarize the week on a weekly summary report, and we do everything on our YouTube channel. This is a channel, 3.6K subscribers. You're more than welcome to subscribe to the channel and turn notifications on, so you will be notified every time a new video comes up. And that brings us directly to this. 34 times of all-time highs in 2024. It seems like almost every day we reach a new all-time high. Does that mean we're in a bubble? Does that mean we're going to crash? No. It only means that all-time highs usually brings more all-time highs. You can see it happened in 2013. That was the beginning of a huge bull market. It happened also in 1989. It also happened years before. But you need to also remember that it might be the peak. Not sure that it will be, but it might be the peak, just like it happened in other years like 1999. So we'll keep on following that, and let's dive into the markets. NASDAQ up 3% for the week. S&P up 1.5 for the week. Dow up 0.5. Only the Russell lagging 0.6. From a sector perspective, from the indices, you can see that technology up 2.8%. Discretionary up 2.6%, mainly due to Amazon and Tesla. Communication up 1.5%, and on the flip side, we see healthcare, energy, and utilities leading the downdraft here. Crypto market, very bad week for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin down to the hour that I'm recording this, 9.5%. You can see the drawdown, whether it's because of Germany, whether it's because of Mt. Gox. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. Bitcoin was down 9.5% and Ethereum down 12.8%. You can see that they move in tandem. So when you want to analyze one and not the other, you can just look at Bitcoin. It's the head of the train, and that's the way to look at it. When we look at commodities, natural gas down 13.2% after a very strong run. Crude oil up 1.4%. Silver and gold up between 2.4% and 6%. Magnificent Seven, guess who's back? Back again. Tesla's up 27%. And I want to show you a very, very interesting chart. Look at Tesla. If we have recorded this same video last week, Tesla was down 20% year to date, or year to the date of last week. Year to date, up until Friday close, 1.2% plus. From -20 to +1%. This was Tesla's week. No doubt you can see this line. Tesla going up. Very rapid, very fast. We're going to see by the news why that happened. And that brings us to the news. 4th of July, Mark Zuckerberg. Whether this was done by AI or truly by Zuck surfing an artificial wave with a flag of the US and drinking beer. In the US, everyone celebrated 4th of July, and happy 4th if I haven't told you before. Friday, we got June non-farm payrolls, which came hotter than expected, but unemployment came also hotter than expected. How is that possible, having more jobs and more unemployment? It's very easy math. We're getting more immigrants and more people are starting to work or added to the workplace because of Zoom, Google Meets, and others, so they're working from home. That increases the number of non-farm payrolls, but also increases the unemployment rate. That's why it happens in tandem. This is not as good for the Fed as expected. This is Fed's dual mandate is for inflation and labor, and unemployment is not good for the labor market. When we look at the crypto, we had two major events that brought the Bitcoin down. One, Germans sold 1,300 Bitcoins. All that happened very fast. That crashed the market. And Mt. Gox, part of their settlement, are starting to transfer Bitcoin back to their owners. And of course, that will create some selling pressure if those owners would not put back the Bitcoin to the exchanges or to cold wallets. Both of these crashed the Bitcoin market by 10%, and slowly it might be recovering. Is that the last flush before the rally, or have we peaked? We don't know. We will need to see that in the next day or two. OpenAI allows Apple to be an observer on their board. Apple trying to ease the pressure around adding OpenAI to iPhones by saying OpenAI needs to be more open for other companies to understand what they're doing, and by having a board seat that provides that knowledge. Macy's getting an updated offer for their locations. That brings that offer, if we kind of equivalent it to shares, 24.8, but it's far from being closed, or at least that's what the market thinks. Take a look at Macy's price. Although it went up almost 10% during the day, it is still down 20% to the purchase price, which means that the market is not fully convinced that this buyout is going to work, and that's why it's not fully priced in. If you believe it's going to be priced in, you have 20% upside. If you don't believe, then you don't have 20% upside. Tesla, well, these were the deliveries. I assume that you heard about Tesla beating on the deliveries, but although having lower production than expected, meaning that they had 443,000 deliveries, while only 410,000 productions. Why does that happen? Why is there a gap between production and deliveries? The answer is pretty easy. Last quarter, they produced more than they delivered. So now they produced less than they delivered. So they're probably eating their backlog or their inventory. Also, and this is very interesting, it came under the radar, and that might be another reason why Tesla stock went up. For the first time, an electric car named Tesla, of course, gets an approval from the government in China for their employees to purchase a Tesla as a service car. That, of course, opens more and more sales in China for Tesla. AI drive-through is implementing more and more capabilities that will be able to reduce the humans behind the drive-through experience itself, and having AI. It's not that easy. A lot of different ways of talking in English, of course, between people that are natives to a lot of travelers. It's going to be very interesting to see if AI will be able to cope with it. That brings us to Skydance Media, which, according to rumors, have secured the deal to buy Sherry Redstone's stocks and ownership in Paramount. Until it's closed, it's not closed, but we should assume that Paramount, ticker Para, is going to move from Sherry Redstone to Skydance Media. Elon Musk during the week tweeted several times regarding the FSD and the power of FSD and Optimus. I'm not going to show you all the tweets. I'm just going to mention one with Michael Dell saying that FSD works beautifully. I assume he has a Tesla. Otherwise, it would be really funny for him to tweet that way. A lot of talk around FSD, around Optimus, which is their robot, all the AI capabilities of Tesla. Most of it, if not all of it, will be presented August 8th in the Tesla Optimus Day. Jerome Powell in Europe this week says in an open forum, the same as we know, inflation is too high, but it's cooling, labor is also cooling, and we need to see more data in order to reduce rates. Nothing new from the Powell side. Eli Lilly gets an approval for their Alzheimer drug, donanemab, something like that. A very huge market for Alzheimer drugs, of course. And Novo Nordisk this week was hit by a research from Harvard saying that Ozempic shots can reduce or can increase problems in your eyes, but a different research shows that the numbers are very low, so it's not really that dramatic. From the Biden perspective and Bernie Sanders, they think that the GLP-1 shots are too expensive, and they're asking Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk to reduce price. I assume they're not going to do it, but you know. Mark Benioff does not get an approval for his equity awards for the years ahead. The board said, or actually there's an external team that needs to give their recommendation to the board. They feel that it's too much to pay one CEO. And that's why they rejected it. We'll see. Probably it will be sorted out. I don't think Mark Benioff is someone they want to leave Salesforce. And Apple tells all their suppliers to get ready to supply a lot of chips because Apple believes that iPhone 16 is going to be a huge success. And that is why Apple is at all-time high, breaking again and again and again. NIO also released their deliveries for Q2, also very strong deliveries, surprising the market. And Roaring Kitty from the GME stock saga starts a new position, 9 million shares of Chewy. Except the fact that Brian Cohen was the founder of Chewy. What do you have to do with Chewy? Roaring Kitty. You're focused on GameStop. What are you trying to do with something else? No one knows. We'll probably find out. Maybe GameStop is going to start selling games to dogs or cats, or I have no idea. And Meta is accused by the EU of breaching the antitrust rules over ad-supported subscription services. The EU has decided to go against all the Magnificent Seven, everyone in its own territory and area, basically bringing back Europe years backwards instead of using progress and innovation. And Boeing agrees to buy Spirit Aerosystems. Spirit is the company that produces their fuselage, the body of the plane. An interesting thing is 20 years ago, Boeing spinned off Spirit from Boeing itself. So basically, they're reversing their decision 20 years later. And we also got Nancy Pelosi, the biggest trader or the most famous politician trading, presented her new trades. So she bought Broadcom, she bought Nvidia, yet she sold Tesla and Visa. Why did she sell Tesla? Does that mean that the end is near? No one really knows why she did all that. And those were the news for the week. Are you ready for this? This is what we should expect in the next 4 to 5 weeks. Earnings season is back this Friday, July 12th. Major financial banks and investment firms are starting to deliver their earnings. From JP Morgan to Citi to Wells Fargo to Bank of New York Mellon and others. The week after, we're going to see more banks. Companies like Netflix and ASML and United and more. This brings us to earnings season, which is always very fascinating. What are we going to see, or what are we going to look at in this earnings season? Well, we need earnings to catch up to the stocks. If stocks went up and earnings will not go up in tandem, that will crash these stocks. On the other hand, if we would see earnings being faster than expected, stronger than expected, that will put more and more gas in the tank of the rally. We don't know what's going to happen, but we do know that companies understand that and are going to look into that. And remember, there's no good earnings or bad earnings. There's only earnings. And of course, how the market perceived them. That brings us to CPI week. Welcome. Thursday, 8:30 a.m., we are getting CPI. Of course, this is Eastern time. And on Friday, same time, PPI, producer and consumer. That will, of course, answer a lot of questions like, is inflation falling like a rock, as Tom Lee thinks, or is it still very, very hot and sticky? This is the S&P 500 with the ETF that follows them called SPY. I'm using TradingView, and this green line is the 50-day moving average. The reason why I'm pulling that up is because we know that from time to time the S&P loves to crash into the 50-day moving average when it gets too extended from the average. Currently, it's too extended from the average. That doesn't mean that tomorrow morning we're going to see a crash. What it does mean is that you need to be aware of the fact that we are far from the 50-day moving average. Does that mean we are going to see correction? Maybe. It also means that the correction can come in two forms. Form number one might be a correction coming down. That's form number one of correction. Form number two is what happened a few weeks ago. You can see here that we stalled. We didn't go up. We didn't go down. We just stalled, which brought the 50-day moving average to be a lot closer than it was before. Now, these are two ways for corrections. One is a strong correction and one is a slower one. And we don't know if it will happen and when it will happen and how it will happen. We just need to be aware of the fact that we are pretty much far from the 50-day moving average, and usually that brings some kind of correction. Where can we stop? We might stop at around 5,400, or even a bit lower than that, 5,350, or around 5,300. That's all for the week. Are you ready for the week ahead? A full 5-day week. Oh my God, how are we going to survive? I'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Micha Stocks. Don't forget to smash that like button and share it. Share this video with your friends so they will start following, and then you will have something to talk to them. Otherwise, what will you talk about? That you're looking for a man in finance? Till next time. Bye-bye.